So in my weekly live streams, you may have seen this tower behind me. Let's talk about my manga collection.
It's morphin' time!
Special shout out to our channel members: Infinity War Torn, Don Don Ranger Power, Jamie's World, JoJo Star, Tom Man 256 Productions, Christian Alejandro Saltos Valencia, MJ Klein, Infinite 1985, Kyle, Toku Texas Cosplay, Scrub Lord Gaming, Aiden Reynosa, Smith the Crow, Elma Ender Prime, and Toma K. Thanks for all your support, and you can join in the join button down below to get early access to videos as well as other perks, so check it out. Hello, this is Soundout here, and before we talk about like this fancy little stack here, let's talk about where I started with manga before we talk about what I've collected. So this is how I got my start into manga, the American Shonen Jump magazine. Very similar to the Japanese Jump magazine. It's like, here's a bunch of manga in one volume, low price kind of thing. These came out monthly back in the day. This is the September 2003. It's the oldest one I have, and I want to say that these are like $4 or $5. Like, it was really affordable, and this is kind of how I discovered like a lot of shonen manga stuff. I probably picked it up because of like Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was watching those animes at the time. I was about 8 when I bought this, but it had One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, Sandland, you know, Shaman King, like all this stuff that I've sort of, you know, fallen in love with, you know, in the anime manga world, came from this, you know, and this was like, you know, they had color pages to them as well, which was really cool. There was just, you know, it was larger print, and, you know, it kind of felt like a really cool thing, and I really did kind of enjoy this. Plus, while the current manga printings and everything use Zolo for the romanization, kind of matching the 4Kids dub, these original Shonen Jump magazine printings used a Zoro, so it's kind of a interesting. They would tweak names occasionally, but here's Yu Yu Hakusho. We've got, you know, just a lot of cool stuff. So like in one of these magazines, and then here's Naruto, so here's Dragon Ball. It wasn't like sequential to anything in Japan. Like, of course, you have Cell Saga Dragon Ball with like Zabuza stuff in Naruto, but it's just, you know, kind of like, and here's like the Capsule Monster arc, or no, this is the VPET story for Yu-Gi-Oh! And they were like, let's do a Digimon thing. So that's the kind of thing, is it have like 2 or 3 chapters. Here's the Pyron fight with Shaman King. So it'd have like 2 or 3 chapters, and then it would kind of like preview stuff, and you'd hit like little things about like Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, and, you know, here's like, you know, video game reviews, and it was kind of like my introduction to the whole world of manga. And so, you know, I continued with it for like quite a bit, as you can see. They even had a monthly like subscription where they'd send it to you in the mail. And I gotta say that, like, while I love having the Shonen Jump app, you know, which is like the current iteration of this, would I have ever read Hikaru no Go if it wasn't already in the magazine I was picking up for other things? Because yeah, I would read all of these like cover to cover, and it's kind of why I like knew about stuff. It's probably why I didn't keep up with like some of these, like, you know, One Piece. Like, One Piece in here is unedited, uncensored, but of course, like, the 4Kids dub was like heavily cut down, and even as like 8 or 9 years old, I could tell, especially because Naruto was a lot less censored over on Toonami. And so I think that's why I didn't keep up with some of this stuff, but also why I kept up with other things like Dragon Ball. And so, you know, this is kind of like the basis of my manga and anime experience. And, you know, I went years on Shonen Jump magazine. I think I found all the way up through like 2007, 2008, maybe, and that's kind of where like I kind of dropped off a little bit. That's why I think I dropped off One Piece around that time, because I didn't pick up One Piece in the volumes like I had Naruto. I was really into Naruto, probably also because of the anime like double dipping thing. But yeah, it's kind of wild to like go through these, and I kind of want to maybe do a whole separate video on it. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's just it's kind of wild looking at this and realizing, oh yeah, a lot of the stuff I really love came from a magazine that I picked up because it had Yu-Gi on the cover, but it introduced me to so many other things. And I can't say there's anything like that for new manga readers now. So while it may look like a McFarlane DC display, it's actually mostly manga shelves from here to the bottom. Really hard to shoot from this angle, so I'm just gonna pull everything off the shelf, but yeah, this is kind of like my primary manga shelf in my life. So I figure we start from the bottom of the shelf. Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, which is a retelling plus expansion on the original Gundam anime, is probably one of the most high quality releases I've ever owned for manga. Really high, heavy paper stock on everything, plus really nice color pages that are added throughout. Really good translation as well. I found found the translation to be really good. But essentially it starts where the original Gundam series starts and works its way through the story. And it's got some really beautiful illustrated pieces. So what I really liked about these, they were done by Vertical Publishing. They're about $30 cover price. The first 9 of these I did get on a Barnes & Noble buy 2 get 1 sale. But yeah, there's volume 1. Each of these contains 2 volumes of the original Japanese paperback release, which is just how they released them in Japan as well. But these are really, really excellent quality. And I think that's kind of the thing, is like manga typically goes for budget over, quality a lot of times in terms of paper and stuff. So it's just really nice to see something like this. It's a really great manga as well. It highly improves on the original storytelling, I feel. Yoshikazu really went back and gave us kind of an expanded look, especially when you get to like volume 5, when you start getting into the flashback stuff that was adapted for the origin anime. The only real problem with this release is that after this had been done in Japan a few years later, and after the English release was even done, they went back and adapted the Doan's Island episode, which is what became the basis for the movie. And unfortunately, we haven't seen like a volume collecting the Doan side story yet. But I hope to see it, because this is like, again, it's just really incredible, the quality of this comic, not only in the storytelling, but in the presentation. And yeah, it is a lot of volumes. Here we are on volume 8, but just every one of them is gorgeous. It's beautiful. They look great on a shelf. And yeah, I really, really liked, reading this. It's one of the best Gundam mangas I've ever read. And yeah, so I think overall, if you're looking for a really nice retelling of the original Gundam story, in fact, this is my favorite. Between the TV show, the movies, and this, it's definitely this. I think the movies are my least favorite. The TV show is my second favorite. This is my favorite telling of the original Gundam story. All right, so another hardcover was the Transformers the Manga, Volume 1. This was done by Viz, surprisingly. This was quite a surprise release. This is essentially the Telebikun magazine comics for the original Japanese Transformers. This first volume is basically everything from the original G1 series and its Japanese adaptation, and this is all the, tie-in manga stuff, which is really, really cool. You get to see some stuff that you wouldn't see in the American fiction, and it's like the first time this stuff has been officially translated in English. And they actually did multiple volumes. Volume 2 here essentially covers Headmasters and Master Force, and so it's got a lot of that in here. They're really short stories. It's really easy to read, but it's just really cool that they actually even went ahead and did this, because I was kind of surprised that we got officially translated Transformers manga, especially from the G1 era. Kind of wish we got to do some more of the crazier manga that's out there. Here's Volume 3. Volume 3 is Victory and Zone, plus the Battle Stars and Operation Combination, which was like not even animated. So it's a really cool look, but really nice hardcovers, plus color illustrations in the backs of all of them, with the last volume having the most, since it was mostly color illustrations at the end of that Japanese run. So Gundam Thunderbolt is the only current Gundam manga getting an English release, which is kind of a shame, because I do like Thunderbolt a whole lot, but I would like, F90 FF, some of the others like Moon Gundam. But this is it. Viz has been doing these in the signature edition, so they are larger. They have color pages included. They're larger print. They are pretty nice. They're kind of slow to come out, just like the Thunderbolt volumes are in Japan, so they're only like every 6 months, which just feels like, oh, is it still going? And they skipped over the Desert Gaiden that was put out during the author's hiatus due to health issues. So it's kind of a shame. But considering the Gundam Thunderbolt anime has not continued in, years, this is kind of the way to read and experience the Thunderbolt story, and it's nice that they're still printing it, and I hope they continue to do that till the end of the series run, whenever that is, because we are still getting more Thunderbolt volumes. It's been going and going and going. Here we are, 16, but yeah, it's been going for a while, and I think we're up to volume 20 now. Yeah, volume 20 was the most recent release. If you're wondering where the anime stopped, it was volume 7. So there's a lot more Thunderbolt story. If you were interested by the anime and waiting for it to be completed, they may be waiting till this run is over. So there's a good 13 more volumes. Plus, they skipped pretty much everything in volume 4 in the anime adaptation. The only other current Gundam manga that's being printed is Char's Counterattack, Beltorchika's Children, which is an adaptation of Tomino's novel, in what is a pretty nice edition from Dempa Publishing. They actually, finally got this out. It was announced like 2 years ago they're going to get this. This series has concluded years ago in Japan. I think it's 7 volumes. Volume 1 finally released, in case you forgot about this. Hey, it's out, which is nice to see, but, I'm hoping Volume 2 and onward don't take as long as the first one, because we waited years for this. Here's some kind of just assorted manga that moves around. We got Spider-Man Fake Red, pretty recent adaptation of Spider-Man in a manga format, where essentially a Japanese high school student gets Spider-Man's costume and then ends up pretending to to be Spider-Man, and it's kind of a fun story. I really did enjoy it. Thought it was really fun and neat, and it's a single self-contained volume that Viz put out. So DC commissioned Batman and the Justice League, which was a manga sort of adapting the Justice League characters for a Japanese audience, and they put this manga out in Japan. It lasted 4 volumes, and in English, through DC itself, we got Volume 1, we got Volume 2, we got Volume 3, and then they never published 4 in English, and I'm a little bitter about that. Chainsaw Man buddy stories, as we'll talk about. I do really like Chainsaw Man. This is a light novel. This is just kind of like little short stories that go in between events in the series. If you want to read this and you're wondering where to read it at, I'd recommend reading it after you finish part 1 or volume 11. And then here's this Naruto fan book that they put out back in the day. It has like a poster in it. It's kind of neat. It's got like factoids about Naruto. It's sort of all part 1 based. But what's kind of cool in the back is it has the original pilot manga that Kishimoto wrote that kind of got the start on Naruto itself. While it doesn't fit the continuity, it's a neat thing to see. And it was pretty easily obtained in this book back in the day. All right, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Endless Waltz Glory of the Losers is an expanded adaptation of Gundam Wing plus the Endless Waltz story into one seamless continuity with some additional material within. If you like Gundam Wing, it's pretty good. This was also done by Vertical, who did those nice Gundam The Origin hardcovers. I enjoyed it. I think this was probably like a more streamlined experience than watching the Gundam Wing anime, especially with how Endless Waltz kind of feels like its own separate thing that doesn't fit with the continuity. So it's kind of neat to see it all kind of rolled together into one. And this is the source of all like the Master Grade Gundam Wing kits are all based on Endless Waltz. This is the Endless Waltz they mean. Like that is what the Tall Geese looks like in Master Grade and Real Grade. So it's kind of neat to see. I do really like the overall, the artwork's really good. It's a bit of a slog if you're not a big Wing fan. I'm okay on Wing. I don't hate it. I don't entirely love it either. So it's kind of a long read, but it is pretty nice to see it all kind of put together. Also, it's in a smaller volume than normal manga, so it does read pretty quick, dialogue-wise. But yeah, this was a total of 14 volumes, and yeah, that's Gundam Wing Endless Waltz Glory of the Losers. I am dedicated to Gundam manga in English, whether or not I even like necessarily the source material it's from. I'll pick it up if it gets printed, but yeah, we don't get a lot of Gundam manga these days, which is kind of surprising considering Gundam is kind of on the rise again. Let's talk one of my favorite manga series, my current favorite ongoing series, Kaiju No. 8 by Naoya Matsumoto. This is about a man who is part of the Kaiju cleanup crew, and then he accidentally, kind of a forced experience happens, where a Kaiju enters his body, and he becomes a human-sized Kaiju himself, and decides to join the Kaiju Defense Force. And it's really cool. There's a lot of similarities to Ultraman in terms of you have like your powered character who has a secret identity, and then his defense team that works with them. A lot of great character work, a lot of really cool story beats. And what's really cool too is that the Defense Force isn't helpless without Kafka as Kaiju No. 8, because they have these giant weapons that they can fight monsters with, which is kind of a Monster Hunter vibe in a bit of a way. This series is still ongoing, and it's actually getting an anime adaptation soon, which I hope is good, because I'm really excited to see that, because I really love this manga so much. I binge read this thing so quick. Like, I hit a certain point, it's a little slow at the beginning. I think I hit about chapter 30 or 40, and then I binged all the way through like chapter 95 in a single day. Incredible if you love kaiju and monster and story action. And yeah, I always sit here waiting for the next chapter to drop, because I am so excited to see what happens next. Jack-O the Galactic Patrolman is a Dragon Ball spin-off manga about a character named Jack-O. You may see him pop up in Dragon Ball Super. This is his origin story and everything. It's still canon to the anime, even though they never animated it, but he meets Bulma's sister and everything. It's a wild ride. I love the character Jack-O, and it's really cool that, basically it's just got like a single volume series, but I really love Jack-O, and if you've never read it, highly recommend it. We've talked about manga that became anime. Here's an anime that became a manga, Tiger and Bunny, which was a superhero anime in 2011. Loved this series so much, and of course, I was a little bit hungry for more, as a lot of people were after the series ended. This manga is adapting the series itself. It starts very similar, like volume 1 is almost the exact same story as the beginning of it, but then it starts to deviate, and they actually start doing a unique story that kind of goes in its own direction, which I think is kind of a neat way to do it, because it doesn't feel like you're reading the same exact story. I also like that each volume has a different hero on it. Of course, Tiger and Bunny run the first two. Here's Sky High. Also, Origami Cyclone is hiding on all of them. And it's really interesting, because it starts taking a deviation point about here, and it starts getting really interesting to have its own unique spin on things. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like this sold well enough for Viz, because, well, we didn't get Tiger and Bunny The Rising, which actually was new material for both. I think actually The Rising's manga was canon. It took place after the movie. And then the Tiger and Bunny 2 manga also was not brought over. But I do appreciate that we at least got the main series, because I think it's kind of a cool, unique, what-if kind of story for Tiger and Bunny. And I really do appreciate the way it turned out. So yeah, the original series was a total of 9 volumes, and those 9 volumes is a complete run, which is nice to see. We also got these comic anthologies, which are a lot of like short comic stories, just little side things. We got 2 big volumes of those, and then there was an adaptation of Tiger and Bunny at the beginning, which was the movie that was like a compilation of the first 2 episodes plus new material. It's pretty much a straight adaptation of that. I'm a big fan of Go Nagai's works like Devilman, Mazinger, Cutie Honey, but it's always interesting to see when someone else kind of takes a swing at it. Rui Takato's Devilman G is kind of one of those adaptations that sort of, I don't know, it kind of made the Devilman story a little bit lighter, which I really appreciated because I felt like it kind of gave it some more shonen-y elements. And unlike the 1970s anime that kind of went too superhero-y, I felt that this actually gave it some really good, coverage, speaking of coverage, really good storytelling ideas and kind of like elevating some of the characters, especially Miki, who didn't really get too much to do in the original manga. So it's nice to see kind of that adaptation sort of bring her more to the forefront, give her some more to do. But yeah, really, really fun adaptation of 5 volumes there. Now, this was a series that was never completed in Japan, Devilman versus Hades, which you couldn't tell from the first volume covers. It's just really nice Devilman art. This was done by Team Moon on the art, but Go Nagai on the story. This is actually a crossover with Mazinger, because yeah, you don't see any Mazinger imagery. It's just Devilman versus Hades. It's really cool. It's a shame it was never finished. There's finally Mazinger gets on the cover on the 3rd volume, but it was only 3 volumes. 7 Seas did publish everything that was printed in the Japan release, but it's just kind of a shame it isn't complete. But it's so freaking cool. Like if you love Devilman and Mazinger, like you can't go wrong with this. It's so hardcore. I remember reading it was a My Anime List review of the first chapter, and they were just like, why did it go so hardcore? Because that's Devilman versus Hades. Pretty great stuff. Cutie Honey Agogo is a modern take on the Cutie Honey manga. This was done by Shinpei Ito. I can't really show anything inside this because of Cutie Honey's nature. It sounds innocent. It's not. But anyways, it's just kind of like a modern take on it. I kind of like this better than the original Cutie Honey manga, if I'm being honest. Okay, so Shaman King is one of my favorite manga series and anime series to an extent ever. It's probably one of my favorite shonen series. It was really good. I really loved how this took a lot of the shonen tropes and flipped them on their heads. And one of those things was the ending. Now you're probably wondering, why are we starting with volume 31? Well, 31 through 35 is all I own of the current Kodansha US printing. There was originally printed by Viz back in the early 2000s, around the time the first anime was airing. And it was a Jump title originally, but it was picked up by Kodansha in Japan. The original ending was rushed. Hiroyuki Takei was given an insane deadline, wasn't what he wanted, but then later on Kodansha gave him the chance to go back and get the proper ending, which the original manga ended at 32, this ran to 35, and 32 through 35 basically are all new ending. So we'll talk about why I picked up just the new ending in a bit, but if you're ever wondering, 3-in-1 editions for manga get really bad reputations thanks to Viz using basically like Bible paper. This is much better quality. The Kodansha US 3-in-1s are the actual normal thickness you'd expect for normal paperback manga volumes, so I highly recommend them. What's really cool too is the spines actually have a bit of connecting art. If you've never read Shaman King and you want to pick up a volume and find out, pick up volume 1, give it a shot. I really do love the story that was told here, and I'm actually currently rereading the new translation because I think it's available on Prime Reading, so if you're looking to just jump in without having to, buy a volume. But Shaman King's great if you've never experienced it. It's kind of one of the lesser known shonen titles, but it's one I really, really enjoy, and I like having the proper ending in place here for my collection. Now, the sequel series, Shaman King Flowers, I'm usually pretty good about reading my manga I own. I've read pretty much everything I've shown you so far. I haven't read Flowers yet. The reason why is because Flowers is only 6 volumes, and as you can see here, we've got 5 of those volumes. It is getting an anime adaptation soon, but yeah, volume 6 is going to be out in January. I'm waiting until I have all of it. That's also why I'm rereading original Shaman King as well. I'm going to reread it. I want to, read Flowers as well. It's all part of a plan. But yeah, Shaman King Flowers is a sequel. It takes place later. It's kind of like Boruto done right, from what I understand. So I'm looking forward to reading it. But yeah, that's Shaman King. Now, the manga too tall for that other shelf are hiding amongst my Ultraman vinyls. 7 Seas Entertainment's classic collection hardcovers, some of my favorite manga ever. It's kind of like, they're really huge. They're really tall books. They're really thick. These are some of my favorite releases. They're very affordable. This one was like $30. So the original Devilman was one of the most iconic mangas for breaking the industry a bit. I'll show I think I can show a page. Yeah. There's some color pages in here. This volume contains the first 9 chapters across almost 700 pages. This series is incredible. It's really interesting because I've never seen an adaptation really live up to the heights of the original manga. Seven Seas put this out in 2 volumes. It is dark. It is twisted. They say older teen on the back. It really is 17 plus. I really got to stress that, but it's emotionally heartbreaking, it's devastating, but it's beautiful in the story it tells, and it's why it's one of the more seminal works that has been readapted so many times, but none have really topped the original manga, and it's really nice that there's a nice English release of that out there, and I absolutely love it. If you're into the darker horror-inspired stuff, if you don't mind the blood, the gore, and the non-sexual nudity, it's definitely worth reading. I highly recommend it. On the flip side, I don't recommend Cutie Honey. I like Cutie Honey as a premise. I like the anime adaptations or the Toku adaptation more, I think, than the manga. This original manga is probably the most messed up thing I've seen from Go Nagai. It's really kind of disturbing, and I don't really recommend this at all. It's a nice release if you're into it, but yeah, this was not what I expected from a Cutie Honey release, and I don't expect Cutie Honey to be like clean, but like, oh, this made me embarrassed to read it. All right, Lupin the Third, Greatest Heights and Thick as Thieves are 2 best of volumes. For like licensing reasons, they can't release Lupin straight, but these are in the same classic collection hardcover style. They're smaller volumes. These are reprints of best of collections in Japan, but these are, first one is Greatest Heights. This one is Thick as Thieves. It's the original Monkey Punch Lupin. It is pure original Lupin vibes. The anime has always kind of taken Lupin down a few tones, which I think was probably for the best, because sort of like with Cutie Honey, some of the moments in this, I'm like, ooh, why am I reading this? I don't feel that with Devilman, but with Cutie Honey and some of Lupin, like all of Cutie Honey, but like some of Lupin, I'm like, ooh, should I be reading this? It's kind of one of those things. I definitely appreciate what the Lupin anime did for the character. But I do appreciate Monkey Punch's original work, and these are great volumes for that. My favorite release Seven Seas ever did is the original Shotaro Ishinomori Kamen Rider manga in 1 big-ass volume. This thing, again, retails for $33, which isn't bad. They put this as ages 10 plus. Yeah, this is definitely more like, more teen appropriate, I'd say, than anything. This is the original manga. It's very similar to the original Kamen Rider show in a lot of ways. This is not like the original show's an adaptation. This was kind of done simultaneously. Ishinomori's artwork is beautifully presented. It's got those darker, crazier elements of Showa Kamen Rider, and it is just such a beautiful story. I really love the way that this is interpreted, and if you watched Hideki Anno's Shin Kamen Rider this year, you might be surprised when you read this how similar they might be. And then going side that, we got Himitsu Sentai Go Renja, also from Shotaro Ishinomori, a much shorter volume. You can tell which franchise was a little bit more successful, at least in the manga department. But Go Renja here, once again, kind of an adaptation of the original show, but with Ishinomori's personal flavor on it. I haven't watched Go Renja, so I'm not exactly sure how close or how far this is, but I found it really fun. I really enjoyed reading this. It's quite a blast. It's got a lot of that great Ishinomori flair to it. And it's also got this really cool introduction about like what Super Sentai is, how this manga came to be, and like what Ishinomori did. It's also interesting that it has the same branding of like before Power Rangers there was Super Sentai, which this doesn't have any Hasbro E1 logos or Shout logos, but hey, there's that branding. It's nice. It's great. I'm sad we haven't gotten like a Jacka volume yet. Maybe it's in the works. I don't know how well this sold. I know that this Kamen Rider volume, at least at my Barnes & Noble, they've had one on the shelf for like 2 years since it came out. So I don't know how well these sold in comparison, but in general, these Seven Seas, classic editions, regardless of what I think about some of the manga I got, these are just excellent releases, and I look forward to seeing what they put out next. It'd be really great, because they did 2 Ishinomori series here. I'd love to see Cyborg 009 in this format. That would be amazing. So right below my normal backdrop for videos is this drawer. And this drawer is basically my Overflow manga collection. So this is basically everything too long to sit on the other shelves, or stuff I've read already. Just kind of like, I don't need it out all the time. We got my original Naruto volumes from volume 1 up through volume 30. That's where I stopped buying the volumes. I kind of just had like this falling out with Naruto during the Shippuden era. And so volume 30 is where I stopped. I do kind of plan to go back maybe and get like 31 through 72. I might just buy the box sets of 28 through 72 and then just end up doing something with these duplicates. But that's, I collected these originally back when I was reading them. So now the original Shaman King printing is interesting because I didn't actually own the volumes. I read it in the Shonen Jump magazine, but I didn't have most of these volumes until I found pretty much all but like 5 or 6 of these at a thrift store for like $1 a volume, which was kind of insane. So this takes us up through the original ending, the ending the original author didn't want. But this is, you know, they're all in nice shape and everything. And so I got the complete run by basically just spending about $30 and then going out and having to find like the last 5 or 6 just to kind of fill out the collection. And that's the main reason why I don't want to rebuy everything in the 3-in-1s, is because I have all of this. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, new translation, yeah, there's some little extra special like chapters added, but that's why I picked up, you know, just what the new ending was, because it's like, I already have all this, do I want to really rebuy everything? That sort of idea. Here is a comedy shonen manga called Reborn. I have actually 4 volumes of this. The reason why some of my manga is just away, just it's moved. I read up through volume 4. I didn't keep going for whatever reason. I kind of had like this, I was really into manga and then I just kind of burned out. But these 2 I bought recently, like in the last like 5 or 6 years. And not super recent, but like, you know, sort of recent. I mean, these pages still yellow. That's the kind of thing. Is when was this printing? This was an October 26th or 2006 printing. The reason why I had to rebuy 1 and 2 is because I got chewed by mice in a storage disaster. So I rebought 1 and 2. Now I can't find my 3 and 4 to put them with. But this series was great. I liked it, but again, I just kind of burned out. I didn't keep up with it. Here we have Persona 5 Volume 1. I didn't keep going with this. It's an adaptation of the game. It wasn't hooking me as like, oh, I need to read this as well as, you know, having played the game. I got it because Barnes & Noble had like a buy 2 get 1 sale, and so it was probably the one just to round out the bunch there. Over here is just a really weird collection of stuff. We've got the first volume of Kamen Rider Kuga, which was machine translated, and I didn't even like the manga itself on top of that. For some reason, I have volumes 1 and 5 of Yokai Watch. I'm not exactly sure why I got 1 and 5. I think these are at book fairs at my mom's school, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna just pick them up. You know, there's that. These I got secondhand at a comic shop. It's Gundam 00, Season 2, Volume 2, 3, and 4. I've never been able to track down the others, but I found these in like the used section at my comic shop. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like an adaptation. It takes some twists and turns. I have more Yu-Gi-Oh than this. I definitely do. I just can't figure out where it is. But here's Volume 5. I found this one at a thrift store as well. I want to go back and get like all the volumes for Yu-Gi-Oh, because the 3-in-1s are terrible and they don't have box sets. Kind of a goal. Another goal would be to finish my 5D set, because I had the first and the last. I got the first one, I think it was at a book fair or a bookshop, and then I was like, oh, it's different than the show, so I was going to go read it after the show. And then I picked up Volume 9 when this retailer called Hastings was closing and they had stuff on sale, and I was like, let me just grab what they got. They had Volume 9. It's the last volume. I've never been able to track down the others. I need to like make a like concerned effort to like track down the other 7 volumes, because 5Ds is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh thing, so it's just one of those things. The Ultraman manga, probably wondering why this isn't on the main shelf. I have not been reading it, clearly. I got Volume 1, I got Volume 2, I picked up 4 on a sale of some kind, but I don't know. I mean, I like the anime version, I think, a little bit better. It's something that, like, it's still going, I'm behind, do I want to try to catch up? I'm reading so much One Piece. It's kind of a pending thing. We've got the first Viz-Big of Dragon Ball. A friend gave this to me. This is a large print format for Dragon Ball. It's a 3-in-1, but the paper's really nice. It's got color pages, which is really cool. I like color pages. And it's not like full color, but kind of like a 3-color process, which is kind of neat. I kind of like that. It's a really nice high quality release. I haven't gone back and picked up all the Dragon Ball manga, mostly because the Viz translation kind of sucks, if I'm being honest. That might be the format I do one day. Here's a couple fun things. We got Tiger and Bunny 1 and 2 in their Japanese printing. I found these at my comic shop. They were like $5 manga or whatnot. But these are the Japanese printing of those Tiger and Bunny manga volumes that are on my main shelf, complete with like the little obi on it and everything else. And yeah, I picked those up pretty cheap, which was kind of nice. You know, it's just kind of neat to have. Not really, you know, readable for me since I don't know Japanese, but yeah, I got those too as well. And then here's a Naruto anime manga of the Ninja Clash in the Land of Snow movie. It's basically just screenshots from the movie with text and stuff put in it. It's fine enough. It's something, I think they did this with the other ones. I don't know. I was like, oh, let me just supplement my Naruto manga collection with the movies, but since it's not original art, it's not as exciting. It's kind of a neat thing, and they did this for Yu-Gi-Oh as well, I think, but it's not the most exciting thing in the world. So this Tower of Power here is my One Piece box sets, as well as my Chainsaw Man box set. Hello, Puchita and Agumon. They're just hanging out there. There's also a One Piece statue up here from Odyssey. because I got the collector's edition cheap. But these manga box sets are kind of really nice, and I want to talk about them a little bit more one by one. Also, if you're wondering why volume 1 is down there, it's because I'm reading here. I'm on like volume 38. But let's see what's inside each of these. All right, let's look at my box sets. Here's Chainsaw Man. I started reading Chainsaw Man through the Shonen Jump app. I heard about it through mostly like the figure arts being announced and the toy reveals, and I definitely fell in love with it. I think I fell in love with the character of Denji more than anything, but I really liked this manga. I thought as the manga, it kind of brought me back into like the shonen manga world pretty extensively. This is a T+ series, so keep that in mind. Lots of blood. But I really enjoyed the series. I liked a lot of the characters. Some of them I don't like Power. I'm sorry. But, you know, I kind of enjoyed the pacing of it. It's really manic. This series, like especially in the manga, really manic pacing, really over-the-top kind of crazy stuff going on. The anime I didn't enjoy as much as the manga. I'm definitely more of a, you know, a preference for the manga for Chainsaw Man. But yeah, I read it in the Shonen Jump app, and then I heard there was a box set coming out, so I decided to wait. Got the box set on sale, you know, that kind of thing. So in general, I did like the box set here as the kind of option I wanted for collecting it, because, I mean, look at the way you can stack the box sets. That's kind of like one of the biggest benefits. But yeah, I mean, I like this series. I like Denji as a character. He's a very straightforward guy, but at the same time, he's very honest. You never will meet a more honest character than Denji from Chainsaw Man. And you'll never meet more of an evil person than Makima. Anyways, this is all I'll say, because I know people haven't read the manga compared to the anime, but this is all the way through part 1 of the story. Volume 11 was the end, the break point before there was a hiatus, and then they went into part 2. And then the box set comes with this cool poster, which is really neat, because I think posters are cool. There is, you know, a beautiful piece of artwork, and then another beautiful piece of artwork. So if you're a fan of the series, or if you want to pick up like manga volumes as opposed to reading it on like the Shonen Jump digital app, these box sets are great. It's the same exact volumes you get singly, except at a much lower price, and they come with a little carry handle. Let's talk One Piece. I'm not going to go through every volume cover because of the sheer number of these, but box set 1 for One Piece. Now, One Piece for me is really funny, because for years I was like, oh, I'm not really a One Piece fan. I'm not into it. You know, oh, it's popular. Oh, I know a little bit of it. Maybe I watched some of the 4Kids dub. I did not realize how much of a One Piece fan I actually was. And the reason why was because for years I was kind of out of it. From like 2008 to 2023, I didn't read or interact with anything One Piece related. But then watching the live action One Piece, which was very good, on Netflix, was like a key into the treasure chest in my brain of all my One Piece knowledge, and it all just came flooding back. And finding my old Shonen Jump magazines made me realize I read all the way up through Alabasta. Like, I read pretty much all of this back in the day. I think up to like I think I figured out it was like volume 21 was probably where I stopped. I had read pretty much all the way up there in Shonen Jump magazine. And so I actually really knew One Piece, and then I just completely like locked it away for whatever reason, and now it's back in my life, and I started reading it again on the Shonen Jump app while I was trying to get the box set, because box set 1 was harder to get. But this is volumes 1 through 23, so it's all the way from, you know, Romance Dawn through Alabasta, or as they call it, East Blue through Baroque Works. And it comes with some bonuses, which I thought was really cool. That's why I didn't want to go for the 3-in-1s. The Viz 3-in-1s are crap, page quality-wise, so I thought this is the best way to do it. And I'm not going to go back and watch the anime now. You know, if I'm going to read over 1,000 I would rather read over 1,000 chapters of manga than over 1,000 episodes of anime when I still haven't even finished Naruto Shippuden. But anyways, here's a nice little poster of the crew on the Going Merry, and then here's another shot of the crew with their gold here, which is really fun. So it's got a 2-sided poster, but what's really cool is it comes with these extra booklets. This is the Romance Dawn, and this is Oda's original like One Piece pilot one-shot that eventually got picked up for the series. It's interesting because proportionately, you know, this looks more like anime Luffy than it does, you know, how they eventually start looking in the final manga. A lot of similar elements. Really cool to see something like that included. It's a really nice bonus for having the box set. So yeah, in a weird way, the live-action One Piece, this is box set 2, live-action One Piece really kind of restarted my love of One Piece again. I remembered I did love these characters. I love, you know, Tony Chopper and Sanji and Zoro, and Luffy is just the best. And I realized how much I really like Nico Robin, to the point where I talked about her way too much on the most recent live stream I did. You know, here's volumes 24 through 46. It's Skypia through Water 7, plus a little bit of Thriller Bark just because how the volumes break down. I'm currently reading. I'm at volume 38. I'm in the middle of Water 7 right now. I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's just, I absolutely love these characters, and I'm really enjoying the story, and it's really nice just kind of get back into it and kind of continue from where I left off. Because I definitely, as a kid, definitely enjoyed reading the One Piece manga more than watching the anime. Probably also because of the 4Kids edits. What's interesting is Brooke's here on the poster with this one. I don't think Brooke appears because this is actually it's a poster for Strong World, which is one of the One Piece movies. And then on the back, I think this is another Strong World poster that Oda did. And then this is the Strong World one-shot. It kind of explains it. It's like a prologue to the Strong World movie, basically. And that's the bonuses with box set 2. All right, so here's box set 3. Yeah, I think in general, I did get these box sets on a good sale. If you're looking for them, I recommend looking for sales. I mean, I didn't pay too much for 3 and 4. I think I paid maybe $80, and you're getting like 20-something volumes. Definitely cheaper than buying the individuals. Now, of course, you can, get all the box sets and then just pick up where the box sets leave off and get the singles. Personally, I'm probably just going to go jump to the Shonen Jump app and then just wait for the next box set. This box set is Thriller Bark, Sabode, Impel Down, Paramount War, New World, all the way through, New World stuff. So it goes through the time skip. And then, bonus contents-wise, you get the Dragon Ball, One Piece Cross Epoch, and the One Piece Toriko Taste of the Devil Fruit crossover mangas as a nice one-shot bonus, which is really cool. And then here's the poster. This poster has, it's two-sided like the others. This is, I don't have any context for this because I haven't read this far. And then here's the other one. I thought about, maybe I should just get the box sets as I read them, like pick up box set 2 and then, pick up, 3 after I read 2. Then they just went all on sale for like Black Friday and stuff. And I was like, yep, just got to get them all. Here's box set 4. Yeah, not the most financially responsible decision, mind you, but hey, I've got all the way up through volume 90 of One Piece to read, and then I got the Shonen Jump, app for reading Kaiju number 8 and Chainsaw Man and stuff. So I'll just jump into Wano because this is Dressrosa to Riviere, so it's they all are marked New World until you get to 90, which starts Wano. But yeah, it's got the next batch of stuff. The bonus here is the Solitary Journey of Jinbei, which is some of the chapter title card things with Jinbei before you actually get introduced to him, I think. So that's kind of neat that they compiled that. And then the poster here is like everybody having a beach day. There's a beach day poster, which is really cool. And then there's the Straw Hat Crew with the kids' versions of themselves. So it's like all their current looks and then their kid looks, which I think is super cute. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to be reading One Piece for a while. I'm not trying to burn through it as fast as possible. I've read it a lot quicker than I imagine. And yeah, I'm going to eventually catch up at some point. Or Oda's going to finish this thing before I catch up. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I really have come back into love of One Piece. And it's really nice to be back on the seas. So I hope you enjoyed that look at my manga collection. If you did, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe and notification bell. Leave a comment down below, tell me if you want to see any more about my manga collecting stuff, because I do love reading manga. I really do, and I'm kind of back into it where I'd been a little bit out for a bit. You can also find me here live Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can check out the Discord in the link below. You can find me on social media if you like. You can find my autograph designer on social media and Discord at darkclaw643. Find Hero Club at hero-club.com for anime and manga news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.